Bare necessity, but simple bare necessity. Bare necessity, but simple bare necessity.
Hey there, it's Bre Bear, and it's been a minute. I know. Let's just go ahead and talk about this real quick. 3 reasons why it's been a minute. Number one, at work, we've been down 1 to 3 managers ever since the beginning of this year. So it's been super crazy. I've been on in and out, like doing a lot extra, which wouldn't be too bad if it weren't for number 2, my sister getting married. She got married on May 25th. So it's only been a couple weeks since then. And what happened was, when after all of that craziness finally died down and I was going to get back to filming and editing and uploading again, I had some footage that I was going to edit and upload that one day, and I went to actually put it together and I couldn't get my hard drive to work. It wouldn't open my content, and like the inside of the folder like would pretend, like it would like open and look empty every time I would open the folders. So I got a little stressed, as you may imagine. And then I was like, okay, about a week later, I was like, okay, let's try this again. Maybe it was a fluke, and I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and maybe it's going to work now. Yeah, well, no. That time when I went to go look for it, yeah, I couldn't find it. I am finally sitting down to film my wrap-up from, from April and May. No, March and April. From March and April. Oh my god, this is so bad. I'm so behind on my life. Whew, it's fine. It is totally fine. You know what? It's sorry for the long intro, but I wanted to kind of explain that I am, you know, living life right now, and it's just been a lot. But I promise YouTube is important, and doing videos and getting my content out there and building this channel is important to me, and I will be getting back to it regularly. Also, I apologize if the lighting has been funky lately. In my past several videos, one of my lights broke, like the bulb broke, and then the other one just quit working. So I only have one light to work with right now, so my lighting may be a little bit funky for a while. I apologize. On to all the books. So the first book that I completed this go around was an audiobook, and I was listening to this as kind of an experiment. I wanted to experiment with different types of content, with like, you know, media and books and things like that, figuring out where the line really comes into play with what is acceptable, you know, and what isn't. What is, you know, the line between being okay as a person who is a Christian, what's okay to read and listen to and watch, and what's not. Where does that line come in regards to, is it a personal thing, or do I need to not do this for the sake of others? I wanted to read and listen to some kind of romance books that are kind of put into that category that may not be as clean as other romance books. I listened to The Best Laid Plans by Lauren Blakely on Audible. So this book features main character Arden, who asked her best guy friend Gabe to help her explore and try what she hasn't really had the chance to try with other men. Is she able to be more than just a nice girl? Honestly, I did find it to be really cute. I enjoyed the characters. They were very relatable, and they actually do really care about each other. Was that it wasn't just a lusty thing, and it wasn't just about the physical relationship, which I was very worried about going into. Honestly, I don't recall anything that I didn't like about this book, and overall I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So the next book that I completed was City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. This is part of the Shadowhunters Chronicles, which I am currently rereading all of the books that I have read previously, so I can read Ghosts of the Shadow Market, so that I can read Queen of Air and Darkness, and also Red Scrolls of Magic. The reason I haven't read all of those is really just because I've been behind on my reading. Are you surprised? I'm behind on like everything. I'm doing my best, you guys. I really am. Just, life isn't perfect. I'm going to give you the synopsis of the first book in the series, which is The Mortal Instrument City of Bones, rather than the synopsis of this one, so that I don't give you any spoilers. If you haven't read or heard anything about the series, which you probably have heard about it because it's a TV show now, but if you haven't, then you'll get to get a little bit of snot. This is a YA urban fantasy words, and this is a reread, like I said. So the series follows Clary, who encounters demon killers called Shadowhunters days before her mother is kidnapped. She discovers that the Shadowhunters are key to saving her mother, but they also unlock the truth of the world. That magic, vampires, werewolves, warlocks, fairies, that's all real. All the stories are true. I really do think that this particular installment into the series adds a lot of tension and builds a lot, but I have to say you can definitely tell that Cassandra Clare's writing has improved so much more since this one as well. So there is some cliche tidbits in there and some things that, you know, aren't quite fine-tuned to the max. And her writing has definitely improved since this as well. I would give it a 4.5 to a 5 star. Because it is such a special series to me, I kind of give it a little bit more. It means a lot to me. It got me through some tough times. So the next book that I completed was Go Ask Alice. This is by Anonymous. Basically, this is a very unique kind of book. So it's kind of contemporary, but it's actually like an edited diary. So it's like someone's real diary but edited. It was published in 1971, so it's like a contemporary of the 70s, not really contemporary like our contemporary, but like it was contemporary for the time. So basically it's the true story of a girl who was unknowingly served a laced drink at an event that sends her life spiraling down, and it kind of has some names and situations changed for anonymity's sake, if I can get my words out today. I have a couple of really big things that I think this is so important. It's definitely a must read to really understand and grasp what people can experience and go through. I could relate so much to this character, having never involved myself in drugs, knowing myself well enough to still relate to, because of, you know, well, I've already gone this far. Well, I've already made this mistake. Well, this has already happened to me, so is it really that bad? And kind of fall into this, you know, dangerous zone that she fell into, and knowing myself that I could definitely see myself falling into that trap. If I were in her shoes, like how dangerous it could have been, and like how dangerous it was for this character and how painful it was for her. If I was a book crier, I would have cried. A lot. Honestly, I have absolutely no negatives. I give it a 5 star. Okay, so then I re-listened to The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas, which is the short story collection. I said Maas, didn't I? I meant Moss. It's pronounced Moss. Anyways, I listened to the short story collection for the Throne of Glass series. If you don't know what the Throne of Glass is, see my previous video, which I will link for you. I went into depth of what the Throne of Glass series is. I did my synopsis of the series. I really love the Assassin's Blade short stories. I think that they really build Selena as a character and honestly build upon a lot of the future events and how things have come into play. I really enjoy short stories anyways because I like to stay in worlds that I know and like experience little tidbits and smaller slices of that story and that world. So I really enjoy short stories. That's just me. I know some people don't like care about them at all and don't bother with them at all. I'm not that person. The downfall, again, is very similar. If you want to see more of my thoughts, go to the last video. Moving on to the next book. I read Renegades by Marissa Meyer, which is my first Marissa Meyer book. I haven't read any of her other books before. I have the Lunar Chronicles, some of them, and I'm planning on getting the rest of them so I can read the Lunar Chronicles too. But I haven't done that yet. But I did read this. And I was just in the mood for something superhero-y, and it was exactly what I needed. It is kind of like a sci-fi / superhero novel, which I really enjoyed. I don't know of any other books that are really this, like a superhero story, but in a novel. That's not a graphic novel or not like the novel version of like Marvel things, like, you know, like the novel of... I haven't seen anything else like this. And I want it. I want it so bad. I wish I had gotten this in hardback instead of paperback because I really love it, and I'm going to end up destroying this because I definitely am going to read it again. But let's go ahead and talk about the story. So basically it follows two different sides. You have the anarchists, and Nova is an anarchist. We have the renegade, basically a network of superheroes with all the power. They're kind of running things. They're like the government, sort of. She hates them and wants revenge for some of the things that happened in her youth. So to try and seek her revenge, she goes undercover and actually she goes to become a renegade and actually makes it in. She ends up meeting this guy named Adrian, and he is a renegade, and she basically ends up experiencing this unique situation, trying to figure out how to deal with her relationships with these people that she's made kind of like sort of friendships with, and trying to accomplish her overall goals of destroying the renegades. All in all, I loved this book. It's very unique. It has some really great mind-blowing plot twists. There's a very, very powerful approach to the line between good and evil, and the question of trust and who you can trust is really, really brought up in this story. There are a few cliches which I wasn't the hugest fan of. There was one where it was like the again and again thing. Not the fan of that, as we've been over. There was this one moment at the beginning where there was a fight scene, but like say she were to punch him and she was like, "Hey Sentinel," and then she punches him, and that drives me absolutely insane. Super cringy, but overall genuinely did love it for the most part, and so I gave it a 5 stars. Okay, so the next book that I have is Orange Volume 2, which is actually, you know, a bind up of several volumes of it, but basically this is a YA contemporary-esque manga series. To see my full synopsis, click the link and you will be taken to that last video again where I talked about the first volume. I did enjoy this continuation of the series. It was super cute and a very satisfying conclusion. The downside was I do wish there was more to it and that it continued, but I did give it a 5 stars. The next 3 books were part of the Bre Readathon. I was going to post a vlog situation, but then I had some issues with my hard drive and I didn't finish my TBR. I am sad to say, but I did finish a few books. The first book that I finished was Before the Season Ends by Lenore Rose Burkhardt. I could be pronouncing her name wrong. I apologize if I am. This is a Christian Regency romance novel. So it's a period book set in 1813 in England. It follows Ariana, who is sent to London to spend the season with her aunt, experiencing being in society and the challenges that you can face with society versus faith. Some of my things that I really liked, there's actually a glossary in the back, which is really cool. Haven't seen that before. I thought the story was pretty sweet, and I did see a couple of plot twists here and there that kind of threw me a little bit. Ooh, twisty. One of my main complaints is, you know, assumptions being made. A few old beliefs are kind of pushed a little bit too much, in my opinion, and not really addressed as being old, although I do understand it is a period novel. I give it a 3 stars. So it's something that is enjoyable, but I'm not as likely to pick up again. Nevermore! So I reread Nevermore: The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. So this is a really fun reread. It's the middle grade. It follows Morgan, who's kind of cursed and doomed to die on the eve of her 12th birthday, but her death is actually, at the beginning of the story, she finds out that her death is supposed to come even earlier. It's supposed to come on the eve of her 11th birthday. She finds out like literally the day before, so that's great, you know. Real positive and exciting. Way to start the story, right? So she's actually ends up being whisked away. Instead of her death, she is whisked away by this very, very unique character named Jupiter, and he's great and I love him. And she gets the opportunity to compete to become a part of a society in a land she never knew even existed. Basically, she has the choice of either dying or competing. I thought it was even better the second time. For me, I was less thrown off by some of the parallels between this and Harry Potter and less annoyed by them. The first time I read it, I honestly was very annoyed by the parallels, but now I appreciate it more for itself. So cute and whimsical. If you like Harry Potter, or if you like a whimsical story, if you like Alice in Wonderland, you would really enjoy this. I love the world. I love how unique it is. I don't even remember any negatives after reading it the second time. I loved it even more. 5 stars this time around. I'm pretty sure I gave it like 4 stars the first time. It's definitely a 5-star read for me now. The last book I read in the March and April segment of the year was Husband Seeker by Liam Moriarty. I am such a fan of Liam Moriarty's books. I love them. I I can just tell you, I'm going to love every book I read of hers. I know she's not everyone's cup of tea. I understand that completely, and I get it. Like, I mean, I don't get it because I don't understand how you couldn't love it. But I understand, like, you know, you do you and I'll do me. But oh my gosh, I cannot. If you like one of her books, I feel like you're gonna like them all. So it follows a few different sets of main characters, and then it kind of like brings their stories together and they all twine together, which is really cool. So it follows Cecilia, who finds a letter that her husband wrote to be opened and read upon his death. It also follows Tess, who finds out a secret about her husband and her best friend slash cousin. And it follows Rachel, whose son and more importantly to her grandson are moving to the States, which this is set in Australia. That's important to understand. So she's very unhappy with that. All the ups are lots of plot twists, huge crazy good plot twist by Leanne Moriarty. It's very, very emotional, and it really gets you in your feels, and your like connection to the characters can be very powerful. It's very, very intense, easy to continue wanting to read. I don't have any downsides to it, and it's a 5-star from me. I'm sorry I kind of looked at my notes a lot throughout this video. So I apologize that I had to look at my notes a lot throughout this video. It's honestly because I wrote them so long ago, and it's been a long time coming to make this video. I am so sorry. I really do have intentions of actually making this channel, you know, a channel, but it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. I'm gonna get there, I promise. I'm gonna talk to you guys eventually later at some point, hopefully in the near future. Love you guys so much, and peace out, Bear Scouts.
Bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean it, bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Yeah, with just the bare necessities of life.